So being in Chinatown, how has that affected business, positively and negatively? I feel like what you're saying earlier, it's definitely a place like DOWNBEAT was needed here, something that wasn't a high scale, like nothing where you didn't feel comfortable walking in. And that's how I feel with Chinatown. It's kind of like the energy it gives off is very, don't judge a book by its cover. But I know at the same time, sometimes there are, like with your answer to the lightning round, crackheads, and it kind of gets scary. So how do you deal with that?
Well, we are drawn to it, I'm not, places like Waikiki or Waikele, they're not appealing to me, or my partner. Like, we're both punk rockers. We're part of a music movement that started in a more gritty time, when there were a lot more social injustices, and when the places that these shows would happen were in more unfavorable neighborhoods at the time, and also they're dealing with issues with people that have problems, or people that are responding to like greater world issues and how it's affecting their lives, like things like poverty or crime or drugs, or larger scale politics too. But at the same time, it comes from grit, and it's a punk rock has always had more of an aggressive response to the problems that we face. So a neighborhood like Chinatown is appealing to me because it has that grit, and because it's raw and it's real, and it's not swept. The problems aren't swept under the rug here. Yeah, me saying crackhead, I don't mean that necessarily even in a negative way. I just say that's part of the reality of an environment we live in. And in some neighborhoods, they have budgets to pay police to have more presence in, and those problems aren't as open, right?
Yeah.
In some areas, they get swept to those neighborhoods, and unfortunately Chinatown has been that for a long time, and it's been changing a little bit, but this is a real historic neighborhood that's gone through a lot of changes. It used to be a red light district where prostitution was legalized. It used to primarily be a bar zone and bar district where there was tattoo shops, there was bars, and there was brothels, and all that was the norm in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s down here. And then it became kind of a no man's land after the military moved their bases to other areas. So it was just a response to the real respectable, serviceman who was here on R&R or whatever. You know what I mean? So all these things are all linked to the history of this neighborhood. We wonder why there's poverty here, or why there's buildings look run down, or why there's people with drug problems or mental health issues down here. And it's because the city and county has just kind of allowed that to be like this down here. They've let this be that kind of neighborhood, and even though it is going through a change right now, it's still around us. But it's kind of like, this is the community we live in. You know what I mean? It's not all hula dancers and plastic lays like Waikiki. This is the real Hawaii. We do have major problems. We're one of the biggest meth capitals in the entire U.S. We have major epidemics with drugs here. Well, those ideas don't really get talked about when you talk about Hawaii in general. You know what I mean?
The image of paradise, and that's kind of what we wanted to touch on with this web series, was that although we're in paradise, the people and the residents living here see a completely different side,
Yeah.
And it's not all plastic lays and hula dancers. There's a lot more that goes on.
Yeah, I think we just embrace it. We're like, yeah, this is a part of Hawaii. This is the city. Every big city has all kinds of problems, and I don't think we need to try to pretend that it's not, that those problems don't exist here. But we coexist with them, and we work with all those elements. And businesses are thriving in this neighborhood and working with what we have. You know what I mean? And maybe we'll get. I think we do have a little bit more police presence right now. There's been some media, and we have a little bit more help from them right now, so we're stoked to have that help, But it's coming just from city and county funds. It's not like Waikiki where hotels put together huge pools of money to have more police. You know what I mean? So I guess you get what you pay for, even though I feel like the police should just be normally
do their job, should protect citizens.
Well, I mean, they should be delegating police to be working in certain neighborhoods just based on populations and crime rates, not on hotels that have money. Like I said, lately we've had some more police presence, and it's awesome. Seeing a neighborhood that has as many people living in such a small proximity. I mean, there's high-rises with like thousands of residents living in this area. Like any city, there's going to be different layers of like crime or problems, right? We've recently seen a little bit more police presence on here, and we're really stoked to see that. And we've been seeing a lot more new businesses opening up. You know, they've been renovating a lot of the old buildings. New shops are coming in. There's tons of restaurants, award-winning restaurants down here. I mean, this is becoming, it has been slowly becoming there's been like a renaissance, you know, and it's changing. But it still does have some of that grit, and I like it. I hope it stays. I hope we don't lose all of it, you know, because I don't want to be a big, I don't want to be a plastic town, you know. I don't want to be in a plastic city that's just all those problems just get pushed elsewhere. Like, that's part of our humanity, that's part of our story, that's part of Hawaii, that's part of our lives here, and I don't think anyone needs to be afraid of it, you know? Just like anything, you just have to have some street smarts, be cautious, and you know, just be smart about like how you carry yourself. It's just like how it is when you go to when you travel and go to any new place, you know what I mean? Just be smart about where you're at and observe your surroundings, and don't be an idiot, you know? That's about it.
Easier said than done for some people.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean, it definitely took, you know, a place like DOWNBEAT to pave the way for these other businesses, you know, establishments that dealt with the grittiest at its grittiness and, you know, stuck it out. And it, you know, from things I've read in the past, media-wise, I know you guys have been broken into before, and things like that. It's not easy to be in this environment, but it's great to see now that there is a change, and like you said, award-winning restaurants coming in and feeling a little safer, and to kind of build that community.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really, we've been here for 5 years, but there was quite a few places before us that did kind of lead the way, you know? That was like next door in its first incarnation, 39 Hotel, Indigo, even Bar 35. These places have been here through a tougher time, you know, and when there was less businesses. I mean, it's like now everywhere you walk there's a new shop and a new boutique and a new cafe or a new specialty shop. So those torchbearers in the beginning, they really had it pretty hard, you know. When we came in, we had a few neighbors already, or there was new businesses coming up right after us or right around us too. The progression's continuing. But we take whatever setbacks with stride, you know. It's like that's just part of running any business, right? There's always going to be little things that happen, right? No matter what your job may be. So, you know, things happen. We live in a big city. There's 800,000 people on this island. There's bound to be some ups and downs, but for the most part, we've had a really good run, and it's been busy, and we have a good clientele. Lots of people seem to like to come in and hang out, and our staff is awesome, and people seem to like working here and coming in here, so we're going to stick around.
Well, I guess to kind of wrap things up, any advice for other entrepreneurs out there who want to go into the restaurant business?
Well, the restaurant business is, I think it's one of the most challenging industries to be a part of, and the success rates are very, very slim. You know, they say I think only about maybe 20 to 30% of restaurants make it past their second or third year, and even less goes down to like 10% like after their fifth year. So it's a challenging industry. I think the best thing to do is whatever industry you're going into, whether it's a restaurant or a bar, or a cafe, or whatever the trade, is that work in it for years before you start trying to open up your own business. Know the ins and outs, know what works and what doesn't work, you know what I mean? Without working in the business, just the idea of I should open a food truck, or I should open a cafe or a coffee shop, wouldn't that be cool? What if I owned a bar? Those ideas aren't realistic unless you've actually been working in those environments for a long time, you know? And learn the ins and outs, you know? And yeah, and just be ready for the ongoing challenges, you know? Like this job is interesting because it's not always just about flipping a burger or serving a drink. Like running a huge restaurant or a small restaurant comes with a lot of upkeep, maintenance, staffing, and all kinds of random fees that will come out of nowhere, taxes and all kinds of stuff. It's a challenging one, but it's a fun one, and it does pay off. You know, I'm really proud to be a part of this, and all the hard work that goes into it, I get satisfaction out of it. You know, when things break, we fix them, and you get to go, that's done now. I got to do that. I learned how to do that. I fixed that problem, whether it be a problem with humans or people or the neighborhood or with an oven or something. You know what I mean? It goes on all levels. You learn a vast variety of trades and gain a lot of tools on just like how to deal with your life and humans and people and equipment and everything, you know. So I would say, you know, go for it, but be smart about it. You know, like I said, learn the ins and outs before you decide you want to start a business yourself. But this is a good neighborhood to start one in, because it isn't Waikiki. We don't pay those kind of square footage rates. It's an accessible place for an entrepreneur. Not a lot of real estate in Hawaii can you go and start a business. So this area, yeah, maybe there are some unique perspectives about the area and the other problems that we have, but it also is a beautiful neighborhood with really cool architecture and has a lot of history, and it's accessible for like an entrepreneur to come into and open a small pop-up shop like Otto did, you know, and we did it, and I'm just, you know, just some punk rocker kid with a partner who like had the desire to try to do it. So yeah.
Punk rock definitely prepped you for business in Chinatown, I feel.
I think so. I mean, there's this like a slogan in the punk rock kind of community called, this is DIY, do it yourself. It's kind of how we have always operated, like throwing shows, making a CD, recording a record, or even like things with fashion or whatever. It's always do it yourself if you can, you know, and try to basically just like take the reins and if you want to do something, you have to sometimes just get your hands dirty and do it your own self, you know. So I think it has prepared us in that way. Me and Otto kind of came up from the same in the same scene, and he taught me a lot about that idea, about just like, oh, we want to get a show. How do we get a show? Well, we got to throw our show then. Let's put together a show. Let's call some bands up. Let's find a place to do it. Let's find someone who has a drum set, you know? On a simple level. It's not that much different when it comes to a business though, too. You know what I mean? It's just like having the right attitude and the right spirit behind it.
Yeah, and definitely like DIY, the key word is do. Just do it. And
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have great ideas, but they don't do anything. They just kind of, you know, they wait and they think it's going to happen, but unless you actually take action, nothing's going to happen. And it's not as, I guess the thought of it is kind of overwhelming, and you do get nervous and a lot of hesitation because what if it fails? But I mean, it's like if you don't try, you'll never know.
Well, yeah, they say, you know, 9 out of 10 businesses will fail. What does it tell you? You have to open 10 businesses.
I like that.
So,
I like that.
So yeah, I mean, whatever the statistics are, beat them. Just keep going.
Our goal with this series is to capture raw, real, and authentic perspectives of Paradise, and Josh's interview was just that. He talked about crime, drugs, poverty, and didn't sugarcoat a thing. DOWNBEAT has been a pillar in the Chinatown community, and a lot of its credibility comes from Josh's understanding and acceptance of the brutal realities that come with the territory.